First of all, my name is Walt Green, and I'm the meet director, and I'd like to thank y'all for coming to the 16th annual Field Day Track Classic. This is our biggest one yet. We have over 1,500 people. The shot put is over here. The discus is behind the stadium. Long jump, both long jump pits are right here. Pole vault is down at the far end.
And the high jump right here. To a novice spectator at a track and field meet, the event may seem like a three-ring circus, with throwing events, jumping events, and running events being contested simultaneously. Many people consider track and field an individual sport. However, this team sport can be just as exciting as other popular team sports, and the 2010 USATF Women's Club Nationals was an all-time classic team national championship event.
Hello, my name is Walt Green, and I will be narrating this film from the first person point of view. This is Part 9B, which includes a summary of Part 9A, Team Track and Field 101, and an examination of the 2010 USATF Women's Club Championship, along with interviews from
Tennessee Robinson,
Sean Love.
Anyway, the Athletic Association approved Ida's request. And on a drizzly day in the fall of 1895, on November 9th,
Ready, set,
which marked the first official women's track and field competition in the United States, was held at Vassar College and called Field Day. This historic event was contested on the grassy area on campus better known as the Circle. 17 Vassar students competed in 5 events: 100-yard dash, running broad jump, 120-yard hurdles, the running high jump, and the 220-yard dash. Valentine's article in the journal was highly praised throughout the nation, and soon thereafter, other colleges started having field day, and women's track and field popularity was soaring, including high schools. By 1914, Dr. Harry Stewart emerged as the leader for women's track and field in the United States. He was a medical doctor and had coached girls' high school track for 10 years in Connecticut. Additionally, Dr. Stewart was an eloquent writer and wrote several articles for the Review, which proved track and field was safe for girls, including this article that scientifically proved girls also benefited from these activities. This is the first USA Women's National Track and Field team, which consisted of 12 girls, 6 high school, and the other 6 in college.
This is the beginning of a bitter rivalry between the two organizations that will last for decades. The committee will begin to eliminate all school athletic competition, while the AAU will govern women's track and field until 1978, along with hosting all the national championship meets, a method still used today. Lastly, a team champion was declared, and Prudential Life won the first title in 1924.
The team was led by Betty Robinson, who won the 100-meter dash to become America's first ever women's track and field Olympic gold medalist. Also, she anchored the 4x100-meter relay to a silver medal. 16-year-old Betty was a rising high school senior in Illinois. Then at the 1932 Los Angeles Olympic Games, she won 2 gold medals and a silver medal in the 80-meter hurdles, javelin, and high jump, respectively. But on the women's side, Helen Stevens dominated the sprints, including a world record in the 100-meter dash. By 1937, even the few remaining field day playdays had stopped, including Vassar's after 42 consecutive years. The division and women's committee were very happy because women's track and field in the United States was on life support. But a small black college located in Tuskegee, Alabama would rescue the sport.
And Booker T told him he was looking for an athletic director who could quietly lead an effort to help break American Jim Crow segregation through sports. Elwood told him about Cleveland Abbott, a freshman at his school, who was also the first black athlete at South Dakota State and starred in 4 sports. But most of all, he was an outstanding student with high character.
They couldn't even go to White College. They don't know bad on the team.
So he proceeded to start the Tuskegee Relays.
And on May the 7th, 1927, the highly successful Tuskegee Relay Carnival was held for the first time at their brand new on-campus stadium, the Alumni Bowl, aka the Bowl, with most of the black college men track teams in the South competing. At the time, this was the third largest track meet in the country, behind only the Drake Relays and Penn Relays. A team champion was declared. At the female students' weekly meeting with the school's dean of women students, Edna Landers, one of the matters discussed was starting another women's track team. The girls voted heartily in favor of this. Dean Landers informed Coach Abbott, who approved. And of course, the coach was Amelia Roberts. The team's nickname would be the Tigerettes, and they added 2 events for the women at the 1929 relays. Coach Abbott and his wife would assist the team. But the next year in Trenton, New Jersey, the Tigerettes won the AAU national title. The New York Times said the team was a well-balanced squad of Negro athletes. But at the time, the Tigerettes were not the only trailblazers on their own campus, as their 1942 yearbook, the Tuskegeana, displays. On the next page from the Tigerettes are pictures of the first 5 Negro flying officers from the Tuskegee Airmen, in which the Tuskegeana proudly says, on March 7, 1942, at the 99th Pursuit Squadron, located at Tuskegee, Alabama. Throughout her career, Alice never practiced the day before a meet, and the team coach, Catherine Myers, knew Alice's schedule, but still did this.
Coach was cussing me before I got ready to go on the field. Who you think you are? You won't even practice before a big thing like this. And you think you too good to practice. Well, I had been with her with the All-American team, so I knew her. And I had been with Coach Abbott, those cussing. So I just didn't say anything. When I walked out there was 85,000 people out there waiting. And when I walked out there, I said, Lord, if it's your will, it will be done. And I didn't worry about nothing else.
There's little doubt about the outstanding female track athlete. It's Mary McNabb, the 17-year-old freshman from Tuskegee Institute.
But despite all this success, the Tigerettes were not immune to racism. So the team had to improvise when traveling long distance to meets through Jim Crow South, as Jessie Harriet Abbott explains.
We couldn't go to the restroom. We had to drive through the country and find a spot of woods where the children could go.
Making it 14 of the last 15 titles. Evelyn Lawler is also the mother of 2 well-known track standouts, Carol and Carl Lewis. Carol is a former world record holder in the long jump.
Congratulations once more to Carol Lewis with a new American record.
While Carl is arguably the greatest track and field athlete of all time.
And his mother, Evelyn.
Also around this time, another HBCU, the Tennessee St Tigerbelles, would help popularize women's track and field in the entire world.
Wilma Rudolph as she speeds away from her rivals for a clear-cut victory.
Wilma Rudolph was the first American female champion that was seen by millions of people.
4 years earlier, Temple was personally recruited to campus by Coach Harris and had just received his degree while expressing an interest in coaching. President Davis hired Ed Temple, despite his age 22 and lack of coaching experience.
We came along at a time when we had great basketball teams, we had great football teams, but we were the first sport in Tennessee State to win an integrated championship.
At that time, there were 2 universities in America that gave work aid to girls in track and field, and that was Tennessee State and Tuskegee. They didn't know that I had a mission, and my mission was I didn't want to go back to the cotton fields, and so I trained and I made the Olympic team.
The Tigerbelles were very dominant. Not only did they win, they also got 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. The Tigerbelles were very popular, and the first to wear stylish warm-ups.
Well, I have always been fascinated by track and field athletes. In 1972, sportscaster Brent Musburger profiled Willie while she was preparing for the Olympic Games in Munich.
They won 12 or 14 national titles and represented the United States in the Olympics.
America's team is made up entirely of Tennessee St Tigerbelles.
But we represent the United States, and we ran against the world. The world, when you win an Olympic medal, you run against the world. Track really put this school on the map. Wasn't no doubt about it.
Team track and field used to be very popular at the highest level of the sport. In 1962, over 150,000 people watched a two-day duel meet between the USA and Russia at Stanford University. I have always loved the team aspect of track and field and was blessed to be affiliated with many championship teams, both as an athlete and a coach. Also, for 30 years, our club sponsored over 100 meets, and we always emphasized the team concept by awarding the top 3 teams. From 1924 through 1993, USA Track and Field, the governing body for the sport, declared a women's team champion at their national championship meet. The Tuskegee Tigerettes and the Tennessee St Tigerbelles dominated these championships. Later, shoe companies would dominate, but after 1993, a team champion was not declared at the highest level of the sport, primarily because clubs were picking up athletes right before the meet just to win the championship. Nike Atlantic coach track club Kermit Foster said Nike used to ask him to let his best athletes register with Nike International instead of Atlantic Coast trying to win the team title, which they did in 1990, but this was not the intent of the team championship concept, so team scoring was discontinued. On December 2nd, 2000, Bill Rowe was elected president of USA Track and Field to serve a 4-year term. Rowe's impressive resume included the founding of Club Northwest in 1972, and he also was a member on USATF's first board of directors in 1979. Additionally, Bill served terms as secretary and vice president, but more importantly, Bill understood the importance of team track and field by his involvement with Club Northwest. One of his objectives as president was to revitalize the dormant club competition at the highest level. And Bill did not waste any time, because in his first year, 2001, and with little fanfare, USATF started a National Club Championship meet in Indianapolis. Team national champions were awarded in 3 categories: men, women, and combined. The meet was also to promote team track and field, and of course, bragging rights for the winning team. Unlike the previous championships, this meet was not a part of the USA Nationals and only local association-based teams could compete, meaning all the athletes must be from the same area, not from all over the country. This meet was designed for clubs like New Jersey Shore Athletic Club, founded in 1934, the same year their most famous member, Olympian Elliot Denman, was born. Elliot, age 91, is still active with the club and is also a world-known author. Another famous alum is Ray Funkhauser, currently the Virginia Association president, and still very active in all levels of the sport. Greater Boston Track Club was another established club with legend Bill Rogers as an alum. Additionally, Central Park Track Club also exemplified the club concept, and led by former track star Devin Martin, they had one of the best distance programs in the country. Lastly, you had brand new clubs like the Kansas City Smoke Track Club.
I'm Sean Love, the founder and former director of the Kansas City Smoke. So I started the club in 2002. This was after a phone call I received from Andy Martin at the national office. He was quizzing me about starting a club. At the time of that phone call, I was still coaching and officiating, president of the Missouri Valley Association, along with having a full-time job. I knew this was a passion of Bill Rowe's. I had great respect for Craig Masback. I was going to start a club.
Club athletes range from high school to Olympians to masters. Olympian D.D. Nathan competed here in her post-Olympic years, while Olympians Crystal Cox and Carmelita Jeter competed here during their pre-Olympic years. The Indiana Invaders hosted the first 4 meets in Indianapolis at the same stadium where Florence Griffith Joyner, aka FloJo, set the 100-meter world record in 1988. The host club dominated and won several titles. They were clearly the best elite development club in the country.
If you were involved with clubs around the early 2000s, you knew that the Indiana Invaders had it going on. I mean, they were providing housing and jobs, had a full-time coaching staff. It's really what I wanted the Smoke to be.
At the 2004 Olympic trials, the Invaders had 10 athletes compete, but the club championship meet was still stagnant with low participation numbers. However, Bill Rowe, Andy Martin, and Dave Ohar worked diligently, and in 2004, an official club council was formed with a mission to develop and retain post-scholastic collegiate athletes. Also, an elite development club designation was established for clubs who met certain criteria. Lastly, in 2004, Bill Rowe was elected to a second term as president. His bio said he was the driving force of the rejuvenation of the nation's club system. 2005 was a very busy year, starting with our club earning elite development status. Also, the meet was moved to New York City's Randall Allen's Econ Stadium, with over 600 athletes participating, which quadrupled the numbers from Indianapolis. The meet was a huge success, with Le Mans Track Club and Shore Athletic Club winning the women's and men's team titles respectively. Moreover, the club championship received worldwide recognition when the IAAF, World Athletics Today, published this article written by Elliott, which detailed the meet and the return of club competition in the United States. That was also the first year our club competed in the club championship. We made the 6-hour ride and took a men and women's team to New York. Our men's team finished 9th and our 3-member women's team finished 6th, led by Elizabeth Baines' meet record in the 400-meter hurdle. Carolyn Lewis placed in 3 field events, while Samaya Islam was runner-up in the short hurdles while placing in 2 field events. Carolyn and Samaya will be the backbone of our elite development team for many years. We met Samaya in part 6. Final note about 1994, a 13-year-old girl, Samaya Islam, practiced with the club that summer to begin a relationship with the club that lasts to this day.
I got involved with track and field when Coach Green came to my middle school and was doing an interest meeting for the upcoming freshmen at Maury High School. And I eventually ended up running summer track that year.
Samaya's biggest influence
is my mother. Because she was a single mom of 4, she was a hard worker. She always encouraged us to go to school, get our education, work hard.
In part 6, Samaya was the youngest member.
I was in the 13-14 age group, and that was my first year running hurdles.
But since then, Samaya was an All-American at Maury High School and a NCAA champion at perennial powerhouse St. Augustine.
I won the national championships in the 60-meter hurdles my junior year,
where she was coached by the 2004 Olympic coach,
George Williams. And once I got there, I really realized why he was as famous as he was. He was a very good coach, very knowledgeable about everything. I just enjoyed running for him.
She was now competing professionally for our elite development club, coached by Dwayne Miller, who you met in part 7.
Dwayne Miller, what can I say? He has been my rock as far as track and field. He stuck by me from the beginning to the end. He coached me in high school. When I came home from college, he coached me. He also coached me as a professional athlete. And he was just awesome.
Lastly, in 2005, 2 very high goals were set. First, the club council outlined a plan with an end goal of a professional team track league, and I also set a high goal to win a national team championship. Yes, a track meet can seem like a 3-ring circus with throwing events, jumping events, and running events being contested simultaneously. However, track and field is fun to watch as a team sport, even to a novice spectator, mainly by knowing the order of events and the score. In dual meets like the USA versus Russia, for individual events, only the top 3 places are awarded points. First, 5 points, second, 3 points, and third, 1 point. For relays, only the winner is awarded 5 points. Then the points from each event are added with the highest total the winner. For example, in this race, USA finished first worth 5 points and third worth 1 point for a total of 6 points, while Russia was awarded 3 points for their second place finish. The same is done for each event, and the total determines the score, with the USA winning by 2 points. The scoring scale is based on the number of teams competing. Most meets have over 6 teams, with scoring awarded to the top 8 places. First 10 points, second 8 points, third 6 points, all the way down to 8th place worth 1 point for all events, including relays. In 2006, the Club Nationals were held on the West Coast at Mount San Antonio College, home of the famous Mount Sac relays, and we took a team of 6 to compete. Samaya, Carolyn, and her sister Yvette Lewis, the super talented track star who you met in Part 7, LaVon Idolette, a club alum who was now at Hampton University, Denzi Johnson, another club alum who you met in Part 4, and high school standout Champagne Bell, whose mother Wanda Bell was good friends with our board chairman, Joshua J.B. Braswell, who arranged for the talented Champagne to join our 15-16 age group team.
When I was little, like 2 years old, my mom and my dad, they always say I ran out the house, just running out the house or whatever. They claimed they knew I was going to be a runner after that. But I played basketball. My coaches wanted me for my defense and the quickness and steals and stuff like that.
But Champagne parents were right, because despite her age, 15, I put her on our elite development women's team. This was a very strong team of 6, and each one of them was talented in several events. Then I saw a chance to score more points. While looking at the meet entries, I noticed the discus only had 2 entries and the javelin only had 4 entries, meaning several points were available by simply getting a legal mark. And since there were not any minimum entry standards, I entered 3 athletes in the discus and 4 in the javelin. So if everyone got a legal mark, we were guaranteed a minimum of 15 points in the discus and 10 more in the javelin for a total of 25 points. We flew out to California, and this was Champagne's first flight.
Well, I remember I didn't want to go. I was crying.
I called Champagne my track daughter, and I assured her she would be fine.
Got on that plane ride, scared to death.
I also told her that everyone is scared before their first flight. Our flight itinerary was Norfolk to Denver, then Denver to Los Angeles. That Norfolk to Denver flight was the worst flight of my life. Non-stop turbulence, and I apologized to my track daughter and told her that was not a normal flight.
That was a bad plane ride for it to be my first. A lot of turbulence and stuff.
However, our Denver to Los Angeles flight was very smooth, and I told her that was a normal flight. It was extremely hot during the day, but all the events were held in the evening in cooler weather. Future Olympic gold medalist Carmelita Jeter competed.
Huge lead for the US.
After the first day, we were in 3rd place with 45 points, including 14 points in the javelin instead of 10, because another athlete fouled all her throws, which improved our score. Those 14 points would ignite a rule change. Day 2 started with a pre-scheduled coaches meeting to discuss future club championships. Skip Stolley, now the club council chairman, said that 44 feet placed 7th in the women's javelin, and this mark was simply unacceptable for a national meet building credibility. Since he was talking about my athlete, I responded she did exactly what I told her. Get a mark on your first throw and leave, since she had to run the 400 hurdles. And I also mentioned that she beat someone who could not get a mark. Anyway, Skip said we would discuss implementing minimum standards at a later date. I jokingly to myself called this the Walt Green Rule. Day 2 was nip and tuck with Greater Boston and us exchanging the lead throughout. And we led by 3 points heading into the last event, the 4x8 relay. Remember, we only had 6 athletes, and this unique schedule had 4 relays contested at the end.
I remember running relays back to back. That was the weirdest thing about it, because I had never done that before.
We could win the championship as long as we finished no worse than 1 place behind Greater Boston. But my team was exhausted, so I told them to jog.
I remember it being real close. Coach Green telling us, listen, it's a real close.
That's the time I called my mama. I was like, Mom, I done did all these events and he making me run a 4x8.
And her mom called me immediately. But Champagne did not tell her mom that the relay was jogging because we just needed to finish for the points.
When I jogged it. You know, already tired, had a long day.
Our relay jogged to a 4th place finish, but Greater Boston finished first to win the team title over us by 2 points. So close, and almost 20 years later, it still hurts.
but I also remain proud of this team because each one excelled. In the men's 4x8 relay, 2 teams also jogged for points, with Skip addressed in an email to all clubs with proposed minimum entry standards and minimum relay standards to score points. Devin Martin, Central Park Track Club coach, proposed these relay standards which were later approved, along with the minimum entry rule. But stick a pin in what I jokingly call the Walt Green rule. Lastly, a meet site location was also approved. New York City will host the event every other year, with the Midwest and West Coast rotating in between. In 2007, we again took a team of 6 to Club Nationals, which was back in New York City, and finished 5th. Yvette Lewis, fresh off a NCAA triple jump title, had recently turned professional and made the USA World Team. However, she needed a qualifying mark at this meet to compete in Osaka, Japan. Yvette missed the qualifying mark, but she was selected the meet's most valuable female athlete. Also competing were Samaya, Carolyn, Levon, Nicole Saunders, and Marlene Belazar. Shore Athletic Club won the team title.
The Nike women's 60-meter hurdles final. Gail Devers owns the event, but Lolo Jones just off of that at 7.77 this indoor season. As we now look at how these athletes will line up.
In 2008, Samaya had her best year as a pro and made the USA Indoor 60-meter hurdles final, which was won by
Lolo Jones wins it in 7.88,
who 2 weeks later became the world indoor champion.
Lolo Jones gets the victory.
And that summer, an Olympian. But also that summer, Samaya was selected the club championships meet most valuable female athlete, while leading the team back to the podium with a 3rd place finish behind Nike Central Park and VS Athletics. Other standouts on the 2018 were Carolyn, Marlene, Keela Tyson, Tiffany Harris, Tanae Chandler, and Sydney Robinson. A 16-year-old high school standout, running in her first Elite Development Championship meet.
That was kind of a different kind of meet. I feel like we were going against some older people, a lot of more seasoned runners. So that was a little intimidating.
If Sydney was intimidated, it did not show in her performance as she placed in the 800 meters and ran on our 4x4 and 4x8, which placed 1st and 3rd, respectfully. Sydney may be small in stature, but has a heart as big as a giant. The meet was held in Olathe, Kansas, hosted by the Kansas City Smoke Track Club.
This team for the Kansas City Smoke in 2008 was loaded, and it just worked out that we were hosting it. I could never get a full team out to New York or out to the West Coast.
In 2009, the meet returned to New York City and we took our biggest team yet, 17, but again we finished 3rd, this time behind Greater Boston and Nike Central Park. So since 2006, we have had a 2nd and 2 thirds, which is good, but I wanted to win. The 2010 meet was going back to California and I had 26 plane tickets, 1 for Dwayne, 1 for myself, 12 for our men's team, and 12 for our women's team, which already included Samaya, Yvette, Carolyn, Levon, Sydney, Keela, and Champagne. Now age 18 was back with the club, and later that summer at the AAU Junior Olympics in the 17-18 age group, she had the greatest anchor in North Korea Deal Club track history.
So I know when I got the baton, I had to go. I had to maintain on that backstretch. Once we got to the 200 mark, we were just head to head, toe and toe. Every step is like boom, 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 boom. So I'm just dying. Like.
Wow.
50 meters left, and I could just feel my arms. Couldn't swing my arms no more. My arms like this, and I'm just dying. And I heard her right here. We like neck and neck, side by side at this point. Could have held hands. Across the line. I was so tired. I ain't even. Kay was trying to get the baton. I just went like this. Couldn't even get on the baton. I was so tired. Then I heard them say, Real Deal Track Club.
Norfolk Real Deal, 342-18.
I couldn't even celebrate. I was so tired.
Before I could finish selecting the team, we received a huge setback when 2 people were unavailable. Keela, our top sprinter, got hurt, and Levon was training for the World Championships using her dual citizenship with Dominican Republic. Anyway, others selected were Shannon Morton, Lizzie Cornell, Amani Hopper,
Tiffany Ellick, Khadijah Kearney, and Taranisha Taylor. You met the last three in Part 8, and completing our roster was Tiara Denmark, a superb jumper and rising freshman at Hampton University. I knew we had a chance to win with this roster, and once I saw the meet entries, it was clear that the team title would be a battle between us and the Central Park Track Club, the 2008 champion and 09 runner-up. As usual, Coach Devin entered several strong runners in the distance races. And since we did not have any distance runners, we would need help from other teams to help in the distance races to help offset a potential 60-point deficit. But we had the advantage in the sprints and hurdles, along with three very good middle distance runners, Shanna Morton, Lizzie Cornell, and Sydney Robinson. We flew out to San Francisco a day before the meet and stayed at the Embassy Suites. Ironically, the meet was being held at San Francisco State University, where my sister Darlene had competed for their team. Even though it was July, the weather was
chilly. It was cold and misty rain that whole weekend.
Even for San Francisco standards. The two-day meet had 24 events consisting of 5 relays and 19 individual events, with 9 scored events on day 1 and 10 scored events on day 2, along with 5 consecutive relays running in this order to end the meet. I set 2 goals for day 1. The first goal was to score 60 points. I knew we were going to be behind after day 1 because most of our strong events were on day 2, but 60 points would keep us around. And the second goal was to qualify all sprinters and short hurdlers for day 2 finals. Even though many clubs competed at the 2010 USATF Club National Championship, only 2 clubs, Central Park and Norfolk Real Deal, current score will be displayed. The first event was the long jump, with Central Park placing 7th and 8th for 3 points. But Tiara, Carolyn, Tiffany, and Champagne swept 3rd through 6th place for 18 points. In the hammer throw, Central Park added 1 point. The first running final was the 800-meter run. And with 1 lap to go, Central Park had 2 runners in the front pack. Our 2 runners, Sydney and Shannon, were in the middle pack. Central Park finished 2nd and 3rd to add 14 points, while Sydney and Shannon finished 4th and 6th for 8 points. Next was the 1500-meter run. And here is our only entry, Lizzie, leading on the first lap, but later passed by 3 Central Park runners who placed 3rd, 5th, and 6th for 13 points. Lizzie placed 7th for 2 points. In the shot put, Central Park placed 5th and 6th for 7 points. Back to the track for the 400-meter hurdles. Both teams had 2 entries, including Khadijah and Amani. Central Park finished 3rd and 5th, adding 10 points, while Khadijah and Amani finished 4th and 6th for 8 points. Central Park dominated the 10,000-meter run, placing 2nd, 3rd, 6th, and 8th for 18 points. And in the race ball, both teams had no entries, which brings us to the last event on day 1, the high jump, with Central Park winning the event for 10 points, and Tiara finished 2nd, adding 8 points to our score. After day 1, Central Park led us by 32 points. We were in a very deep hole because we did not make our 60-point goal, but we achieved our qualification goal, which gave us a slim chance, but at least we had a chance. Back at the hotel, this was on the television.
Came down here to win championships, not 1,
not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7.
LeBron talking about winning 7 championships. I told Coach Dwayne, I just hope and pray we can win this 1 championship tomorrow. But it was going to be very tough. We were down by 32 points and we had to erase that deficit before the relays because we did not have a distance medley relay, while Central Park, with its strong distance runners, was likely to add 10 points. Also, we still needed help in the remaining distance events, and I wondered if our slim chance to win was even realistic. So I immediately reassessed day 2 on the back of this hotel bill. Yes, I still have this. Anyway, I projected the score after each of the 10 remaining individual events, which made 2 things perfectly clear. First, we had to score at least 58 points in the sprints and short hurdles, our strongest events. And second, we had to beat Central Park in any head-to-head matchup. including relays. If we did not accomplish both, we could not win the championship unless there was some kind of divine intervention. Since my projections had us up 1 point before the relays, I decided to use the paper to gauge our progress after each event, which allowed me to know our status not according to the scoreboard, because I knew the score was going to get worse before it got better. Day 2 first event was the pole vault, with Carolyn placing second for 8 points, which was a great start to the day. In the javelin, Central Park placed first and second for 18 points, while Amani finished 6th for 3 points. The next 2 events were distance races, and we did not have any entries in either race, but Central Park did, scoring 4 points in the 5,000 meter run along with 5 points in the steeplechase. Moreover, in the triple jump, they added 2 more points to extend their lead to 50 points. But on my sheet, we were only down 1 point, provided we do our part, which started in the triple jump with Tiara, Tiffany, and Carolyn combining for 12 points. In the discus, both teams did not score. Which brings us to the last 4 individual events, our strongest events, the sprints and short hurdles, where we must score at least 58 points combined for us to even have a chance heading into the relays. First was the 400-meter dash. Central Park had 3 finalists, while Champaign was our only finalist. And remember, we had to also win all the head-to-head matchups. I told my track daughter Champaign she had to beat all 3 Central Park runners for us to even have a chance. But I know she loves pressure.
Once it was time to run, put that pressure on me, and I knew I had to go.
Which she did by finishing 3rd ahead of all 3 Central Park runners, who finished 5th, 7th, and 8th for 7 points, and Champaign's 3rd place added 6 points. In the 100-meter dash, Central Park had no finalists, but we had 4, including Yvette Lewis, who won the race, along with Nisha finishing 4th, Tiara 7th, and Khadija 8th. We added 18 points. Next was the 100-meter hurdles, and Central Park had 2 finalists, and we had 4, including Yvette and Samaya, who battled all the way. Going 1-2, with Amani 4th and Carolyn 8th. Central Park finished 5th and 7th for 6 points. Our quartet combined for 24 points. We were down by 3 points heading into the last individual event, the 200 meters. Central Park had 1 finalist, and we had 3 led by Yvette, running her 3rd race in 35 minutes, and finished 2nd. Central Park finished 5th for 4 points, and joining Yvette's 2nd were Nisha and Tiffany, finishing 6th and 8th for 12 points. We exceeded our first goal by scoring 60 points and had won all the necessary matchups. We led by 5 points heading into the 5 relays. But remember, we did not have a distance medley relay. We had to beat Central Park in the other 4 relays to win the championship, barring some sort of miracle. The first relay was a 4x800 meter relay. Central Park, as always, was strong, but so were we with Shannon, Khadija, Lizzie, and Sydney. The entire race was close, but they edged us out for the win and the 10 points, while our second gave us 8 points. So barring some miracle, mathematically we could not win, but I did not tell the team. I think the Cornells and Robinsons knew. Sydney and Lizzie's parents had made the trip to California, and I had told them our scenario to win. So after we lost the 4x8 relay, Pam asked me, do we still have a chance to win? I said I had to check my math, but highly unlikely. The 4x100 meter relay was next, and here I am in the stands. I remember that exact moment because I felt bad, real bad, because we came here to win. I wish you could see the look on my face here. One thing I've learned in my life, if something is not meant to be, it is not going to be. I said to myself, this championship is just not meant to be. But I still wanted to win our last 3 relays. Greater Boston was also in the race. Our relay consisted of Samaya running first, followed by Nisha, Tiffany, and Champagne. Samaya will be handing off to Nisha. She will be handing off to Tiffany.
and Champaign would bring home the win. Greater Boston was second and Central Park finished third. Anyway, when the results of the 4x1 were posted, I noticed Central Park did not receive 6 points for third place. We received our 10 points. But looking further at the results, Central Park had an X beside their time because they did not meet the minimum standard of 51 seconds to score points. Remember the walk green rule? My feelings went from 1 to 10 because now we had another chance to win. The sprint medley was next and Central Park finished second for 8 points while we with Yvette, Nisha, Shannon, and Lizzie finished fourth for 5 points. Central Park won the distance medley for 10 points to tie the score at 150 points. After 23 events, the last event, the 4x4 relay, would determine the 2010 national champion. The other relay teams that were entered scratched. So the 4x4 will literally be a winner-take-all race for the championship. Our lineup consisted of Samaya, Amani, Sydney, and Champaign.
It was really down to the last event. High anxiety, just super nervous. We had a lot on the line, but it felt like it was good pressure.
The year before, Sydney ran a spectacular second leg on our AAU relay. Running the first leg was Samaya, normally a short hurdler.
I remember not wanting to run the 4x4 because I was a 100-meter sprint, 100-meter hurdler, and I never liked to run the 4x4. So I just wanted to do the best I can to help the team win.
Here is Samaya nearing the end of her leg. Handing off to Amani. Amani seen here on the backstretch being passed by Central Park's Maureen Zivit. But coming off the curve, it was Amani's turn to do the passing. Before handing off to Sydney with a small lead. Sydney would increase the lead. And give Champaign a nice margin.
I got a big lead like that, I know I just got to maintain. Win out, maintain on the back stretch, and then once I hit that 150, I just go.
Champaign anchored us to the win, but more importantly, the 2010 Club National Championship.
We was out there to do a job, complete a job, and we did it.
And it also was good to just be part of a winning team.
And we won the championship again in 2011. Samaya, now retired, was one of the coaches.